More than 5 million people are dead after 20 months, and we still don't know exactly where COVID came from. Scientists going back and forth on whether the pandemic started in a wet market or leaked from a lab. China has been absolutely useless, stonewalling investigations, refusing to admit anything. So what actually happened? There's a fantastic new book that dives into several fascinating theories, including one involving a mysterious copper mine in China back in 2012. Joining me now, Matt Ridley. He's the co-author of Viral, The Search for the Origin of COVID-19. Alina Chan is your co-author. Matt, welcome to the show. So nice to see you.
Good evening, Kennedy. Nice to see you, too.
So this is a fascinating book. I mean, partly because you wrote it like a mystery, and it's not like a science textbook, so it's not boring to read at all. It's a real page-turner. But take me to that mine in 2012 where 6 miners clearing out bat guano fell sick with symptoms and a virus that's eerily similar to COVID.
Well, we don't know exactly what they were suffering from, but all the doctors who treated them at the time thought that they had a bat-borne coronavirus. And this would have been the first case of people directly catching a SARS-like virus from a bat. So no wonder they were interested. The Wuhan Institute of Virology, the leading institute that searches for bat-borne SARS-like coronaviruses in the world and does most research on them, sent 7 expeditions that we know of, possibly more, to that mine shaft to collect bats, to collect samples from bats, and to bring them back to the lab. One of those samples, well, 9 of them actually, turned out to be the closest relatives of this virus when the pandemic broke out in the beginning of 2020. And yet they changed its name. They didn't link to their previous report of it. So it looked like they were not keen for us to know that they had this close relative in their freezer in Wuhan. They'd been working on it in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And this was the closest relative of SARS-CoV-2, which does beg a question, what experiments were done? Was it relevant to the origin of COVID-19? If not, let's have a look at the data and see whether it's possible to exonerate
And oddly enough, one of the scientists, one of the researchers who was involved in trying to study that original virus was Batwoman. Dr. Zhizheng Li, who has been not exactly an open book in terms of her 2016 and 2018 research and publications. And they very mysteriously, like you pointed out, changed the designation of that original virus and tried to say, well, we didn't realize until 2020 that there was any association at all. But in fact, they knew damn well in 2018 that that's in fact what it was.
Well, it was called RA4991, and they called it that right up to 2019 in papers and theses. And then when they announced the genome of SARS-CoV-2 in January 2020, they said, oh, by the way, there's another virus in our freezer that's very similar. It's called RATG13. I spent a whole day trying to find, what is RATG13? Where does it come from? Where did you find it? When did you find it? Nothing about it anywhere. And it turned out this was 4991, but it had been renamed. So it's this kind of thing that requires us to ask very hard questions about whether or not there is more information in their databases, which have gone offline since before the pandemic and never come back online, that could be helpful in determining the origin of the pandemic.
Yes, and then Peter Daszak from EcoHealth Alliance, we've heard about that organization quite a bit, getting funding from Dr. Anthony Fauci's institute. He was the one running interference and saying, oh, yeah, they just renamed this thing. But then you have China, who essentially closed the mine. So you had investigative teams from NBC and various other organizations, the BBC, trying to go to that original mine in Mojang, that Mojang copper mine, and they couldn't get in because there were plainclothes police officers and, military personnel blocking entrance, so no one could really investigate. But it was with the help of people like the Seeker on Twitter, who have been doing some of the footwork here, because government and any government-funded institution has been pretty opaque.
Right. We found that with some very honourable exceptions, mainstream journalists, mainstream politicians, mainstream scientists have not been very good at looking into this story, whereas a number of open source analysts working on the internet, working out how to look at obscure corners of the Chinese internet and find theses and genetic databases, assemble a record of everything that's known about these viruses and their close relatives, have been able to provide us with magnificent quantities of information, particularly, as you say, a guy called the Seeker in India, Francisco de Assis de Ribera in Spain, Yuri Dagin in Russia, Rossano Segreto, an Italian. These are the people who are the heroes of our book because some of them are amateurs, some of them are scientists. Some of them began work because my co-author, Alina Chan, had started questioning some of this stuff. She's a brilliant young scientist. So it's not, we're not getting help from the sort of mainstream here.
No, they're really shutting you down, and even in some of the reviews. So last question, we only have a couple of seconds. Is COVID the result of an accidental lab leak in your estimation based on your research?
We don't know, but we lean towards that explanation, which we didn't in the beginning. We've moved in that direction.
All right, Matt Ridley, thank you so much. Viral, great book. Go get it. It's a wonderful holiday read. Thanks again.